Hi everyone and welcome to podcast 4. Only 2 more to go. This podcast is specifically about helping you to prepare for both common and difficult interview questions, and also looks at interpersonal skills and interview etiquette. It may be slightly longer than the other podcasts, but not too long, I promise. With so many things in life, preparation and practice are key. And preparing for interviews is no different. Therefore, it is important you prepare well for your mock interview. The benefits definitely include increased confidence, reduced anxiety based on lack of knowledge, and increased success. You're going to really impress the interviewer. So imagine you're a sports person preparing for a match or a race. You'll take time to think, to train and practice. Now imagine yourself limbering up and taking time to think about and prepare and practice for your interview. It will definitely help you, and for all the great reasons already mentioned, and more. We now need to think about drawing everything we've talked about so far together. We need to match all our efforts so far to both common and challenging interview questions that you may be asked. Remember, every single one of you can do this, and don't place too much pressure on yourself either. It's all a great learning and self-development process. I'm now going to read out the questions you may be asked at your mock interview. You will have a copy of these with the job description, and you will also find them listed in your Getting Interview Ready booklet. So the first one, tell me about yourself. And what do you know about the company or organisation? Why would you want to work for us? What can you bring to the company? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Tell me about an achievement you are proud of. If you were an animal, what would you be? Tell me about a challenging situation and how you overcame it. What makes a good team player? What motivates you? Do you prefer working in a team or by yourself? What are your hobbies and interests outside of school or work? What can you offer us that someone else cannot? Are you a leader or a follower? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And finally, if you were Prime Minister for the day, what changes would you make? It's a great idea to type or write out the questions, followed by some of the answers that you would give. Once you've done this, leave them for a day or two and then reread them. Can you improve or add anything? The next step is to practice your answers with someone. Ask them to ask you each question in turn and then answer. Don't worry if it comes out a bit differently than you hoped. Honestly, that's normal and we all do it. But keep practicing and you'll gradually find it gets easier. And please don't worry about sounding daft. Honestly, we're all in the same boat, and the interviewer who interviews you will understand and be kind if you make a mistake. And if you really feel you've made a mistake on the day with one of your answers, why not smile and simply say, "I'm sorry, may I try that answer again?" And I'm sure your interviewer will allow that to take place. So next, I would like to include the types of behaviours and qualities to include and to demonstrate during the interview, and those that it's best to avoid. So let's start with what to avoid. So being late, being negative, or speaking badly about other people, your school, or anyone really, because it can actually end up reflecting not so well on you. So when you're sharing your weaknesses, try not to share weaknesses which will reflect badly on you. And I'll give you some examples of how to answer the question in a moment. Not answering a question. So as far as you possibly can, try to answer the question. And if you've looked through these questions and prepared beforehand, you shouldn't have a situation where you can't answer one of them. Try not to over-exaggerate. And obviously, and I'm sure you won't be, but not to be rude or to even be easily offended. Just let things be, water off a duck's back. I'm sure there won't be that situation anyway. Also, try to avoid talking about money or holiday entitlement within any questions that you ask the interviewer. And also try and avoid saying something like, well, in 5 years' time, I'll be sitting where you are, because it can come across unintentionally as a little bit arrogant. So let's go back to some of those weakness question, and see how we might answer it. So I've got some examples here. I'll share a couple with you. So here we go. I sometimes focus on the details too much. I'm working hard to learn to see the bigger picture and focus on the most important aspects of a task or my projects. And here's another one. I love working as part of a team, but sometimes it has been difficult for me to work with certain personalities. I'm learning not to take things too personally and find positive ways of encouraging and motivating others. So you can really see there how you can absolutely turn a sort of weakness into almost like a positive. You should tell somebody what you're working on, and that's how you frame your weaknesses. Okay. So what do you actually want to include and to demonstrate within your interview? So you definitely want to be including the following things. So you want to be enthusiastic. You want to show an interest not only in the company, but also in the interviewer. You want to be friendly, positive, respectful, and polite. You want to be definitely talking about your strengths and your skills, especially in relation to the job description. You want to practice perhaps altering your tone, the rise and fall of your voice. You definitely want to be smiling. And take your time. Remember to breathe. If there's a question that you really need to remember what you've written and gather your thoughts, it's okay to take a breath and just say something like, oh, let me think about that. Remember to research and study the company, and then also practice answering all of these things at home with someone at home or with a friend. And also potentially be open to some constructive criticism, and remember to ask questions. And I've got some examples within the Getting Interview Ready booklet. So moving on then to the positive of interpersonal skills and interview etiquette. Okay, it can be difficult to discover how we come across to others. We don't see ourselves all the time as we're moving around, but we're always communicating with others, even if we're not sure or aware of how we're coming across. So interpersonal skills and body language are very important, especially in the world of work and in an interview. And etiquette is also important. So, we want to be professional, showing professional behaviour. So I just wanted to give you a few top tips of how to include these things. So first of all, I know you're going to be having a virtual interview, but you want to be dressing smartly. You want to make sure that you've got your whole outfit on. You've got even, if you're actually going to a real interview, you need to make sure that your shoes are clean. Everything's looking smart. You've had a shower, you've washed your hair, you're looking your best. And you also want to be making sure that you prepared your outfit in advance. You don't want to be rushing on the day of your interview to sort of make sure it's looking good. You want to be smiling, making eye contact, and you want to greet the interviewer with a nice and warm smile and, hello, my name is, and it's nice to meet you. Remember to breathe, okay? Because sometimes when we're nervous, we can speed up the rate at which we're talking, and that can just show our nerves. So just remember to try and speak more slowly. Aim to sit up nice and straight. Try not to fidget if at all possible. And I always find that focusing on the other person can really help with nerves as well. So really thinking about what they're saying, listening to what they're saying, rather than pre-preparing what you're about to say. And then showing that you're interested and that you're listening by nodding and saying yes or no in the correct places. And it's okay to smile and laugh if something is funny is said or you say something funny. It's absolutely fine. And try to enjoy the process. View it as a learning opportunity. Remember all your fantastic strengths and skills because you have many of them. So just remember to share them with all that lovely evidence that you've got. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. Just smile. And as I said, just say something like, can I start that sentence again? And that will be absolutely fine. I hope this podcast has helped you see how you can bring everything together. I know, we know that you can do this. We believe in you, so you believe in you too. Now we will move on to the fifth and final podcast.